Look who I've got in the car with me.
Yeah.
It's the legend Peter Elgar. He's come down on the Isle of Wight for an holiday, and he texted me and said, Roger, I'm on the island. Can we go and do some photographing? I said, of course we can. So,
yeah, looking forward to it. Good Lord. I've been on a waiting list for this trip, and they phoned me up. We've got one place. Would you like to? Are you still interested? Oh, yes, please. So I booked, and we're staying at the Trouville Hotel, Sandown. But Sandown, oh dear, there's nothing there to photograph. So we've been on a few coach trips, but Roger's going to take me to Shanklin, and we're going to do hopefully some seascapes and landscapes. But I can't get up that hill from down below. Oh dear.
So what camera you bought, Pete?
I brought
show the people the camera.
Yeah, I brought my 2002 bought tax deductible Hasselblad 501 cm, and it's got 3 lenses, and I've got a flash gun, and I've got some filters. I've got a Western exposure meter, and I packed a spare hernia belt as well because of the weight.
Pete, tell us about yourself. When did you start doing photography?
I started in 1951, Festival of Britain year. We had a school trip there from the East Home Grammar School, and my mate Keith Williams, his dad was an inspector in the police, quite well off compared with my poor old dad who only worked on the railway. Bought him a camera, a Kodak Brownie Reflex. So Keith said, I've got this camera. So we all looked into it. It was wonderful. We peered into the screen. It was all in colour as well. Wow. So he said, I do my own developing, do you? Yeah, he said, Peter, come to the Photographic Society on Thursdays in the chemistry lab. I said, well, I'm running at the Stamp Club. He said, that's on a Friday. You can come Thursday, all right? So I went there, and the room was in semi-darkness, and up the top by the blackboard was the teacher, our chemistry master, Gabby Hayes, and he was dishing out the...
Sorry, Pete, just mind your microphone. That's it, your camera's on it.
So he was dishing out paper, blank pieces of paper to boys, and they take it over to a bench, and they put this blank paper into a little frame, like a picture frame, and put a negative on top. And they hold this picture frame underneath a lamp on a retort stand for some time. Then they go over to another bench where there's some liquids in a trays, and he take out this blank piece of paper and put it into one liquid, and lo and behold, a miraculous event took place. The picture gradually appeared. I thought it was wonderful. Then they wash it in another liquid, they put it in another liquid, and then I can't remember how they used to dry them off, because in 1951 they used to dry them off, because that was developer and stop bath or wash and a fixer, you see, but I didn't know what they were. But as I did advanced level chemistry, Gabby Hayes used to encourage me as a chemistry master, and he showed us how to mix up our own developers from sodium sulfite and methyl hydroquinone and sodium carbonate for the print developers, and we mixed it all up, and I started from there.
What was the first camera you bought, Pete?
The first camera I bought, that was an Ensign Selfix 16-on-120 model 2 with a 3.5 Ross Express lens, £24, 10 shillings and threepence, and I had to pay that off 5 shillings a week. That £24 was a fortune, especially as my dad only earned £14 a week on the railway.
And how old was you then?
I was about, when I got my camera, I was about 16.
What did you do with the camera? What was you doing with the camera at that time? Was you trying to be a photographer?
No, because I did science. I was studying science at school. The physics, my worst subject was physics, too much mathematics in it. But I did chemistry and zoology and botany, and I did that at advanced level. And then I decided I wouldn't go to university, so I had to go into the armed forces instead. So I got into the Royal Army Medical Corps, and I did the pathology, but I also carried on with my photography, and especially as the British taxpayer paid for all the chemicals and I could order up chemicals for my photography, methyl hydroquinone, and the British taxpayer paid for it. And then mix-up developers in the laboratory, and I used to do passport photographs for officers. Well,
you was doing passport photographs?
Yeah.
That's where you started, okay.
That's right. Well, I would do passport photographs, especially in Germany, when an officer needed a passport.
Wow.
Yeah, by that time I bought a Contax Model 3 1939 camera in Berlin. I was in British Military Hospital, Berlin at the time, and a camera dealer came round with his cameras, and he had a beat-up Leica with a scratched lens, or a Contax with a 1.5 lens. I thought, oh well, that's the one that Robert Capa used at the D-Day landing, so I'll get the 39 quid it was. Fortune. Paid that off monthly.
When did you? What sort of photography did you do mostly when you were, say, in your 20s, 30s? What sort of photography was you doing mostly?
Well, I joined the camera clubs, of course, and I've been in camera clubs ever since the school one. South Essex Camera Club. I joined first when I was 15, and I was the youngest one there because all the old fogies are 40, 50 and 60. But they were members of the Fellows of the Royal Photographic Society, but they all took me under their wing. And one, George Crosby, Fellow of the Royal Photographic Society, would take me over to his house I'd have a cycle there, Woodford, and his wife would keep me supplied with marmalade toast, and he would show me printing with Amidol Developer, how to use Amidol Developer in his darkroom. And they were so kind to me. That's why I like to teach beginners now, because I joined the Royal Photographic Society in my 20s, and I got my associateship 1970 by submission of work. So that's why I like to encourage beginners at the camera club myself.
But what sort of work was you mostly doing? Weddings or?
No, when I started professional work, the first professional job was 1959. That was the Ministry of Aviation and the Air Technical Publications branch, and I had to do a lot of printing, but we went out to aircraft factories to photograph inside all these bits and pieces of aircraft like Vulcan, Bomber, Lightning Fighter, Shackleton, and we had to photograph all this secret stuff that the Russians probably knew what was in there anyway. We had to sign the Official Secret Act. We used a whole plate-sized camera with glass plates and developed them, and then doing contact prints, and they would make diagrams how to use the hydraulic system and all that business. Then I did school photography for a while, and I got the boot for that because I couldn't book schools.
You couldn't what?
I couldn't book the schools.
You couldn't book them?
No, I had to go around, before they let me get my hands, I had to go around booking schools. Then they gave me the boot from that because I couldn't book the schools. So then I managed to get a job at University College London in scientific and technical photography. I was like 8 years till I left because I wanted to see what my first wife was getting up to. So I left and started up on my own as a freelance.
What do you mean what your first wife was getting up to?
Oh, she's getting up to things, and her and her mother put the house up for sale once over my head. I came home from work and there was a for sale board. I didn't want to move. That house was costing me $4,900 in Brentwood.
Hope you got a picture of it.
Well, the house, yeah. I still live in there now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's the original house.
You
You've been, yeah. I've been there since 1965.
Any funny stories about weddings? Any failures?
Oh, loads. I've done a whole video on wedding disasters.
This day and age when people are shooting weddings, they're shooting digital, and unless the card goes wrong, which is very rare. But back in the day, I should imagine there was so many times when
I've had one failure, and it wasn't my fault. I had a wedding. It was the reception girl at the Brentwood Gazette did her wedding, and I used a 2¼ square Pentacon 6 I got in 1971. That's right, 112 quid that was.
That's what I got the other day.
Did you really?
Yeah, Pentacon 6.
No. Oh, I'd love to see that.
You commented on the video, didn't you?
Yeah. I've got that one in me. I gave the filming for processing to Breeder Studios at Barking. I got a phone call that evening. Can you go back to the wedding and take some more pictures? No, I said, they've all left. Well, he said, we've had a bit of a disaster. I said, what happened? All the films are fogged. Oh my God. They'd taken on some 16-year-old beginner and he'd gone into the dark room when everybody's films had just come out of the developer and was hanging up to go into the bleach. And he switched the light on, and everybody's films was fogged. Black. Oh my God, fathers. It wasn't my fault. It's the only failure. I had to try and get some black and white prints off of them.
How did you get around that?
I had to. The girl was very, very understanding. Luckily, I still see her now. We have pensioners' breakfast in the Conscious Cafe at Brentwood. Sometimes I see her in there. Yeah, I never mention her wedding photographs though. So we've arrived and.
Hang on. So what are you hoping to get today, Pete?
Well, I'm looking at the weather here, Roger, and it's a bit grey and overcast, but there's a glimmer of sunshine.
There is. There's nice broken clouds.
Into the light, you may get some sparkle on the water.
Right.
So I could do some sparkly pictures, and if you've bought a tripod, I can put my heavy camera on. I'll do an eighth of a second or a quarter of a second, and get some of this blurry water. I've never done that, blurry water.
What size lens filter is that? Is it 72? Because I've got an ND filter,
stop. Oh, I haven't got an ND. I've got
I have.
Oh, right.
What size is it?
It's a Carl Zeiss bayonet, you see.
Hang on.
It's a bayonet.
If this is 72, you can get some wispy water with this ND filter.
I've got a deep red filter from a black. I'm doing bleach.
Oh, that'll stop you down a bit.
Black and white, yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah, we're going to do it in black and white. This is the colour back on here.
Yeah, does that? Oh no, it's too big.
I always hold the filters over anyway. You see the price of Hasselblad filters? I hold them over. So this back is a 24 shot back, and I've got 220 film loaded in that, and it's dated 1999. I couldn't believe it. Fuji Astia film dated 1999 in a 24 shot back. It's got 24 on it, see? And I had to pay to get it serviced, that back, because it was overlapping. But it's all done now, like new. So I can get 24 shots on 220 film. I've got packs of it. I was given it by some photographer who wanted to make room in his fridge for beer.
Sounds a good bargain.
Yeah, it came to our club.
Exchange.
Came to our camera club, says, anybody still use film? I said, yeah, I use, but mine's all out of date.
Was he pissed?
Yeah, no, he said, you like out of date film? Yeah. Oh, if you come to my studio, you can have some films. I want to get rid of it to make room in my fridge for beer. So me and my boy rushed there to Benfleet, to his studio. Oh, he opened his fridge. He gave me packs of 10, 120, load of 35mm infrared colour film, which I'm still using, and some 220 packs of film. And I've never used this. So I took one, had it professionally processed, and it came out, I couldn't believe it, from 1999. Nice. So now I do it myself. I've got a Bellini E6 kit.
Can I have a look at that?
Yeah. Because you used one in Kuwait, didn't you?
In Bahrain I used
Bahrain,
a Hasselblad. Look at this, guys, a 501 cm Hasselblad.
Yeah, that was 2,000 quid, but luckily at the time...
Look at that lens, Carl Zeiss.
80mm planar.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's tax deductible. It was over several years. The revenue don't allow you to have it all off in one go. You have to be using it for work.
They are good cameras, aren't they? What's the mechanics like inside? Have you had it serviced, or is it all fully?
That one has never been serviced. No.
Never been serviced, and it still fires everything.
Yeah, everything works on it.
But then it should do if you use it often, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
It shouldn't get stuck.
I don't let the lens get junged up. No. I haven't damaged it underneath.
Put your name on the back and your address.
Put my name and address on a little label. Yeah.
So there you go, mate.
That's it. Thank you.
Right, if we're going to take some pictures, Pete,
let's go.
Can I get a couple of portraits of you as well? Because people have asked me for some portraits. Right. So.
Let's go. I'm looking forward to this. Big adventure. I've seen a picture of the oncoming waves and some textures onto the beach here, and I'm going to do a moving waves picture. At the moment I've only got the 80mm lens on, but you're getting quite a lot of the waves in. And I'm going to take a reflected light meter with my trusty Western here, which I'm going to set to 250 ASA.
Come this side, the wind's breaking into me.
Yeah. Now this out of date film, because most of my films are still out of date, so we see what it gets now. says the one before 11, so that gives me, for a slow shutter speed, that says 15th f22. Let that blur it a bit. Oh, then sorry, I've got to use a filter, haven't I? So we're going to put on a red filter. That cut down the light. So we're gonna be able to use 2 stops slower than that. So that'll be a quarter of a second. That'll just blur it nicely.
Sit over there, Mark, and then you can turn your body towards the light.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah,
that's it.
The light, yeah. Put me back the front.
Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
There you go. So I'm going to do a portrait of Pete, f2.8. Nice little background now. Let's see how this comes out. I've got him facing the light.
I've got so many different systems now because I've been given loads of gear, luckily, by widow ladies and camera club members, and then they promptly die. But before they die, if they give me anything, I always take pictures and show them results of what I've done, you know, to show them I'm appreciating it. And I clean up the gear and I put in new light seal strips, and I really appreciate what I get given. Yeah, I've got loads to choose from. So sometimes if I don't use much, I'll sit there and I'll fire shutters off.
Yeah, I do.
While I'm having a cup of tea.
Yeah,
I don't like to waste any time.
Just to keep them lubricated.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I took all mine out of the cupboard the other day. I did the same. I just cleaned them up, shut all the shutters off.
That's it.
All my old folders, just to give them a little bit.
That's right. Yeah.
Blow the cobwebs off.
Yeah, give them a
So
go.
when digital came out, back in probably the early 2000s, what did you think of all that?
Oh my God, I was sort of, don't know really, I thought to myself, I don't understand it, because I had to go to learn how to use a computer first of all. Right. I thought a mouse was a little furry object that ran along the skirting board and you shot it with an air gun. I thought a mouse was, and I went to this course for pensioners in the high street. I found out a mouse was something to do with computers. So anyway, then when I was getting freelance work for the Yellow Advertiser in Basildon, they said, we want you to cover the Orsett show. All right, that's always September.
The what?
The Orsett show.
Orsett, near Orsett Hall.
Orsett, that's right. Big showground there. But you've got to use one of our cameras, have I? Yeah, a Canon digital, 3 megapixel it was called. I've never touched a digital camera. I said, blimey, what's this thing? And they gave me a Canon all singing, all dancing electronic flash that sits on the top. And I only had ancient Braun Hobby flashes or Mecha Blitzer with your film camera. So I said, well, I'll only use it for filling. Well, you do this and you reduce the power here. Oh yeah, reduce the power here. So I looked at it and it had M on it, so manual exposure. So I thought, oh well, I'll have a go with this blinking digital thing. So I took it over there and I took light readings and put the little cursor in the middle to get the manual exposure off the ground, and as I would use my Western meter or a Pentax ME Super, I take manual readings off the ground, you know. And then anyway, I took pictures, I used film flash with it. I got steam engines, so I got all the animals, and I got a double page spread with it from a camera I'd never touched and never used digital, and they was absolutely delighted.
Really? Yeah. What about you though, with the quality being 3 megapixels?
Yeah, I couldn't more.
Did you fault it or not?
No,
oh.
It came out in the newspaper. They was delighted with it. They couldn't believe I had never used a digital camera in my life before. Yeah. So now I've got Pentax K10D. I had to buy digital in the end because all film was stopped. I didn't want any more film, but I did carry on scanning film, and then I had to scan it and email it to the newspaper, scanned files. But in the end, I won £250 Jessop's voucher in a photographic competition. So I blew this 250 on a 2007 Pentax K10D in Chelmsford. The first one they gave me was faulty. It would only take purple lines. Well, I thought myself, it should take a picture, not purple lines. So So they agreed that was faulty. They had to give me another one.
Oh.
That wasn't a good start, was it? So I had to return that, give me another one. That seemed to work, but I found that now it back focuses. Nasty thing with the little zoom kit lens, it always back focuses. Oh. And when I put on a film lens with the adapter, I focused it up, I took the mirror and I used, I've got f2, 35mm f2 lens. I put it on f2, no flash inside the sports hall with the mirror in the foreground and all the people in the background. And blow me, the background was sharp and the mirror was all out of focus, back focused. Oh my God, glassy thing. So I can't rely on that K10D now, but I've been given some more since then.
What camera would you, if you could only have one camera, one lens and one film?
Oh my God, no.
They said, Pete, we're going to put you on a desert island for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
You've only got one camera, one lens to take, one film.
Oh my God, fathers.
And one pair of pants.
Yes, that's it.
What would you take?
Well,
what would you take?
if you're on a desert island, you won't need a load of different lenses, really. I mean, I'd probably take
You can't charge no batteries.
No, I would take my 1965 Leica M2.
Whoa.
Yeah, which I bought off a camera club member for 400 odd quid. That was a good deal. And the F2 Summicron probably, and Ilford FP4 film. Yeah.
Ilford FP4.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. I used to use Oro NP22.
Right.
I used loads and loads of it because it was so cheap. When I had to buy my own film, even doing me freelance, I used to buy 17-metre lengths of it from this company in Red Hill, Surrey, that imported MP22. And I mixed up my own developer for a formula I got called PH35 in a 1960s 35mm magazine, it's called. They put in this formula MK35 and PH35. It diluted 1 + 5. It lasts you, get a load out of it, make it up with phenidone hydroquinone, dilute it 1 +. It gave wonderful results with Oro film. I could get 20 by 16 prints out of Oro film, no problem. And it was half the price of Ilford FP4 and the Ilford films. But then when I got job with the Brentwood and Shempford Argus, instead of giving me a price raise for doing their work, they said, well, we'll pay for all your film and papers. So I could order Ilford film and papers as much as I wanted. So I used to order 400 feet of Pan F and FP4 and HP4 and Ilford Bron papers. I would order that up. So, but then of course East Germany was reunited with West Germany, and the factory went broke and no more of that Oro film. But they bring it out now in something called 54 or something, isn't it? Oro UN54. UN54, yeah, but it's not. I don't know if it's made in East Germany again, and then
it is made in Germany.
Yeah, but is it made in where the original Wolfen factory was?
Yeah, I believe it is.
Yeah, maybe they've restarted it, but they've got to pay West German wages now, of course.
Yeah.
But I've never tried that, so
it's good film.
If you want to slip me a roll, I'll try it out.
I don't know if I've got any indoors. I might have.
Yeah, give it a go. That new Oro film. I'll try it with my PH35.
Who's your most back over the years? What photographer do you look up to?
Oh yeah.
The time?
Oh my God, Don McCallum, or Sir Don McCallum. Because I like his dark, moody landscapes that he does with his Mamiya 6x7 camera. He's got Mamiya Universal camera 6x7, and then of course I like his action pictures.
Don McCallum.
Sir Don McCallum.
Scottish, is he?
No, he's British, but he's got the Mac name. I don't know if he's got any Scottish, but he's famous, so famous. All photographers know him. Yeah, he's got a dark room. Sells print, makes a fortune selling prints, but he's over 80 now, like me. Everybody's all over 80 and 90 now. All the famous photographers. David Bailey's over 80.
Yeah.
Never hear of him now.
Have you ever met him?
Yes. He came to Brentwood and District Photographic. No, it wasn't Brentwood. When I was at Barking Photographic Society.
Because he's an East Londoner as well.
Yeah,
isn't he?
he's at East London, that's right. And we've had the other guy who committed suicide and Donovan.
Donovan.
Yeah. Terence Donovan committed suicide.
Yeah.
Why they kill themselves? I can't believe it.
And Duffy burnt all his necks, didn't he?
Yeah, met him, been to his studio. Yeah, when I was at Barking Photographic Society, we used to get in contact with all these famous names, and Donovan would turn up in his Rolls Royce in Barking, and he'd go to the fish and chip shop in Ripple Road and buy fish and chips and sit there in Eastbury House, where we used to meet, in his Rolls Royce eating fish and chips. Then he'd come and give us a talk. I got a picture of him on giving a talk. Yeah. Then there's that other guy, Maplethorpe. He killed himself, didn't he?
Oh, why don't they kill themselves?
I don't know. He used to do these dodgy pictures of young men and stuff.
Oh, he probably got himself in trouble and ditched himself out of the
Maplethorpe his name was. Yeah. We're going up the back streets of Isle of Wight here, little country lanes, only room for one car. Good job you've only got a little forward, isn't it?
I know, look.
Look at his little way.
It's night time, you can't see anything.
No, and if you meet a post office van doing 60 down here, oncoming, these van drivers.
You've always got to go back or forward or left or right.
Give way to oncoming vehicles. Oh my God, brothers, we're going to squeeze through.
Yeah, we'll be alright.
Oh, look at that.
Here we go.
Here we go.
I drive down here every day.
Yeah.
You get used to it.
Yeah.
Up the back of your van, Pete.
Yeah, I go in the backwoods of Brentwood, you see, but I walk now because for my exercise to keep me alive. I woke up this morning and I was still alive. I couldn't believe it as a bonus. Yeah. Keep saying to myself, blimey, I woke up again, still alive.
I think that's how everyone should see life, don't you? Every day is a bonus, really.
The photography's kept me going. All these oncologists and surgeons. Oh, that's the famous farm. Yeah, they couldn't believe I'm still going after 6 different cancers and type 2 diabetes I've got now. All these things going wrong with me. I still keep going, luckily. And it relaxes my mind, you see. And people sit at home with their illnesses and their cancer and they vegetate. They don't last long, but luckily it's our photography that keeps us going. I'm still going to be on parade, mate. November the 11th. Oh, here we are. What did I tell you? Post office van.
You said that, didn't you?
I said, what happens if you meet a post office van? But luckily he wasn't doing 60 and he's flashed us, look. There. Exactly what I'd say, the post office van. Thank you, Governor. I didn't see his black and white cat though, so it can't be Postman Pat. It must be Postman Bob. Oops! Blimey. Nearly. He was coming out there.
It's my neighbour.
Ah. And we're close, are we?
Yeah, just live in this car park here. There's my house there.
Oh, that's it. Oh,
all the gardeners in.
Crikey, that's the famous bit. You do your videoing outside here as well.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Oh.
It's the garage there. That's where we film is, in the fridge.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah. Smashing, we've arrived.
Come on, let's have a cup of tea, Pete.
Yes, please.
I'll show you me dark room.
Yeah.
Not much, but...
Right.